I said I will probably be here for days, washing this crack, making sure all the dirt is out of the wood, and I can make a good joint with the glue. You need to have a lot of patience.
What did you want to be when you were a child?
A car designer. I love cars, I love the design, I love driving, I love everything about it.
Any particular type of car?
I have a preference for Mercedes cars of the 70s and 80s. I even did an interview for product design, but fortunately I wasn't accepted. Our dream car would probably be the Mercedes Pagoda. Yeah, mid-60s. Mid-60s, late 60s.
You're not a collector of vintage cars now, are you?
I'm a violin maker. This is prohibitive. Either you drive an old banger, but that doesn't make you a collector of vintage cars. Right now I'm cleaning cracks on a late 18th century German viola from around 1780 or so.
What's the oldest instrument you have here?
I think we have a violin from beginning of the 18th century, between 1720, 1740. How do I know? I don't. There's a method to date wood, which is to count the tree rings and trace the gap between the actual rings on a graph, which gives you a growth chart. You compare that to known data, and you can find out in which years the wood was felled or grew. But you get an idea when you look at the making of an instrument if it's from the 18th century or the 17th century or the 19th century. Every century has its own characteristics. You have more artisan makers in the early generations, and then around 1840 or so, with the advent of the Industrial Revolution, you've got mass production coming into the violin making process. So the instruments change, the methods change, the appearance change, the varnish changes. So it's something you pick up having seen hundreds and thousands of instruments. I studied instrument making in England, in Newark-on-Trent, but I started off as a guitar maker, then did Baroque instrument making, and then I started as a restorer in a violin shop, only specializing on the violin family.
Did you have any musical passion growing up?
I had, yes. I played the piano, but I never had the patience to practice.
How's your eyesight?
I'm actually short-sighted. We call it the Robocop.
Yeah.
My profession is called luthier, which is, I think it's a loan word from the French. Comes from the Arabic word for lute, means made of wood. Or you can also call me violin maker, but really for all intents and purposes, I think I should better be called a luthier.
You can make a violin from beginning, from scratch. Can you?
I can, and I do.
If I said I need a violin in a rush, how quickly could you put together a violin?
In a rush, I've done it in a week. If you do nothing else. I think they say it takes around about 100 hours to make a violin. Nowadays it's not quite as quick, not even a month, because of all the other distractions of running the workshop. I'm making a couple of violins right now. They're in the stages here. I will continue with this one very soon. Right, so this is our workshop where we have beautiful natural light. So this is my bench, this is Katarina's bench. Katarina only works on double basses.
Okay.
I work on all the other instruments, including the bows. Into our exhibition room.
Wow.
Right, where we have violins, violas, cellos, and double basses. Most of them are ready to go. The back rows, they are instruments for repair. There are a couple of client instruments here that are ready to go up for restoration.
What's the most standard injury a violin has?
You have basically, I think, three things. Either it's a crack. The most standard thing really is that the bridge bends. This is a bent bridge. It's moving forward, needs to be replaced. Those sort of things happen quite frequently, especially here in Portugal, or here in Lisbon, very close to the sea. A lot of houses don't have conditions, and the apartments are damp or humid. And so the wood is affected, and then suddenly you have the summer where it's very hot and very dry, so the instruments undergo a lot of climatic changes.
How do you get really good at what you do?
20% talent and 80% persistence. Well, I'm not really that good. There are loads of people much 100 times, 1,000 times better than me. I have colleagues and I'm absolutely in awe of their skills. I think we live in a golden age of violin making. You have nowadays incredible violin makers, and we have access to information that we never had before. Nowadays it's completely different. So you have access to information, you have access to materials. So the standard of violin making, in my opinion, is nowadays as high as it ever will be. In this work, you have a lot of time thinking about stuff, time to yourself when you're making. So I used to have a little blog on my old website called Tales from the Bench. I would verbalize all those internal ramblings that are going on in my head when I was working. I can go on for hours.
Clearly.
Look, that's Katerina and
That's who? Who's that?
that's Katerina.
Who is Katharina?
Katerina is my partner, life partner, business partner.
Where did you meet?
Online, on Facebook. I used to be quite active on social media, sharing a lot of my work. And she reached out to me because she was working on double basses, and I had shared pictures of double basses. So Katerina reached out to me, and came to the UK, where I was working at the time. And we met, and the rest is history. And I was getting a bit tired of the UK anyway. It's not just the weather, but the weather was a bit too much as well. I had that feeling the country's changing a little bit. As a German living in England, I used to have it really, really good. You feel reasonably welcome once they stop talking about the football and the war. But towards the end I noticed a slight shift. So I just finished my rental agreement in the UK and moved to Portugal.
Hello.
Hello.
So, how did you meet him?
Like I said, we met through Facebook.
What did he say to you on Facebook?
I think it was me asking to to learn more about the profession because I'm not an original violin maker. And Kai sharing a lot of things. I had another person that recommended me as a person that would be open to teach me something. So he did. And
then I decided let's move away from Nottingham and follow this beautiful, wonderful woman to her home country.
That's it. I'm Portuguese from here, from this location. So when Kai decided to jump into this country, I thought it was a good idea to search for where we both could work. Since 2016 we opened the company. We met 10 years ago. It's already 10 years ago. So
do you still like each other?
Very much so.
24 hours working and living.
I've never had this before. We work together, we live together. It's intense.
What's the name of the company?
Torres and Days. Or you
Torres
say
e Daze. Catarina Torres.
Torres and Days.
E Kai Daze. Luthiers.
Is there many other people doing this in Lisbon?
A lot of foreigners that learned in schools outside this country, like Kai, are in England, in France, Germany, and they came to Portugal and they opened. So the majority of the luthiers in Lisboa are foreigners. When I started, there was no double bass shop.
But luthiers like us, there are 3 more in Lisbon that I know of. Maybe there are more, but
Portuguese are also starting to be interested in the profession, trying to do their own steps. Not many go abroad to study making. My story is a bit different because I played the bass, I had my big passion. Then I had an injury in my elbow and I couldn't play, so I was very sad. At the same time, I started in the university to study the restoration course. So at the same time, while my friends wanted to go for paintings and sculpture, I thought that musical instruments would be my object. And that's how it started. I couldn't think that in the beginning that was possible, but why not? And then I also shared the shop with another luthier, a French guy.
Another luthier. What's this? The drama. Oh my God.
I told you it's a small world.
The making of an instrument for me is such a big thing that I give it so much importance. And I don't allow myself to make because it's like a luxury. I have so many things to do, repairs for people, that making my own instrument is something so special.
How's business in Lisbon?
I don't know if I should say this, but there is something about the Portuguese mentality that I haven't quite grasped yet. And it's something, as you know, I learned and lived in England for 20 years. I'm much more in tune with that mentality. Also with the financial reality of the people. Portugal is an extreme country. You have extremely poor and you have extremely rich people. The middle ground is very, very... Well, it's not as vast as it is in the UK. Also, even the middle ground, it does not have the financial capacities that they have in other countries. Musical education has a different importance in this country. It's a luxury, which I think impacts our profession a lot. So we automatically are at the bottom rung of the industries, really. So it's tough. I'm not pretending.
Portuguese, they value what's not Portuguese. So to buy an instrument, they go to France, and all proud arrive with a nice instrument, or Italy, but they don't even want to know if it's good or not. It's because the teacher said, or because it needs to be something like that. And to try to change that, what I think is that at least give us a chance to show what we have before. I know this is going to be a long process, but it is what it is. I think can be a bit of vanity sometimes. Those things I don't understand. Regarding the sales of instruments, sometimes they don't care about the sound, they care about what's in the label and what's the price. And if it's less, they don't even want to try because of something that shouldn't be like that. But Is that Portuguese thing? I don't know.
No.
Maybe it's the musicians in general. My name is Catarina Torres.
My name is Kai Daze,
And we
live in Lisbon.
This was when I was a musician. I was around 19 or 18.
Were you good?
No. But I was the only double bass player in school and the only double bass player in jam sessions. So everybody wanted me to play for long hours, and that's how I got my injury. That's my combo at school. It's missing my piano.
What's the best jazz club in Lisbon now?
There's no jazz club anymore. We are waiting for the mayor to find a solution. I hope it will be. I think they are trying to do concerts in temporary places outside. It's a pity.
Yes, but you
The thing?
need to put it on its time.
And I also need the Robocop.
Have you ever destroyed an instrument by accident?
Yes, I have. It's like an. It's so funny. I tried to get some fluff out of. I imagine this is a Chinese cello. It has a hole on the end. It had some dust on the inside, and I stuck a vacuum cleaner hose on the end, and that created so much suction that it cracked the table. It was a very basic instrument, but that taught me a lesson. Bloody hell, you really need to be very careful with instruments, especially when they're not yours.
Bit of a problem.
The strangest thing, I had a French violin, old French violin from the 1880s. I opened it, and it had insect cocoons on the inside. The whole inside was covered with cocoons. It was really, really creepy. It freaked me out. I can find a picture of that. It was so weird. Never seen anything like that. That was probably one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't know what animals they were. They were deserted, abandoned cocoons, but God, that really creeps you out. Like seeing alien. They were alien cocoons. Horrible. Leather apron. It's what one needs to have. We have sharp tools. Obviously, you can injure yourself if you're not careful. But for me, it was also rite of passage kind of thing. They were not cheap. These leather aprons cost a fair bit of money. So once I had my own shop, I thought, okay, now it's time. I deserve a leather apron. Serves me well. It's beautiful. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I should just go to one of these cabinets.
This is unfortunately a big part of my work. Sending budgets and invoices. Ateliê Torres e Daze, boa tarde. Ateliê Torres e Daze, boa tarde.
What's the secret to a long relationship?
Working together.
Being forgiving. I think it's the secret.
I still don't know. Music.
Okay.
That's very difficult.
Sax case, okay, guitar happens. Then there was a surfboard, a 3,000-year-old surfboard that they asked us to restore. I don't believe there is such a thing as a 3,000-year-old surfboard. Apparently it was made out of 3,000-year-old wood. I still don't believe that either.
Can you make a chair?
Can I make a chair?
Yeah.
Yes?
Can you make a table?
I can, yeah. I made a music stand.
Do you put up shelves?
I'm very good at putting up shelves.
So you're a carpenter?
Yeah, I'm a fancy carpenter.
Fancy carpenter.
Yes, I make boxes with strings on. That's all I do.
Yeah. Tell me something about you that not many people know.
I used to be a tango dancer.
Did you? You used to be a tango dancer? Really?
Yes.
And you?
I like gardening.
Oh, that's good. Well, what plants do you like at the moment?
An entire forest.
Okay. Give me some emotional words to wrap up this video.
Some emotional words.
Red light flashing. Red light flashing.
Okay.
Love is all you need. Okay, that was lovely.
Sorry,
That'll
don't do
do,
that.
that'll do. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's it. Wave to the camera. Very good.